Welcome to Clay's Cortex.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to episode number 8 of Clay's Cortex, take 2. The reason why I say take 2 is because if you follow me on Instagram, which it's Clay's Cortex, I do like a post of like, hey, coming out this Thursday, or last week was Friday, the episode's gonna be released on this day. I released it. And when I finished recording, I was like, man, this is good. This is pretty good, you know? And my wife listened to it. I posted it, made it live, and she put it on at home to watch it on YouTube. So you can watch it also if you go to YouTube and search Clay's Cortex. She was watching it and was like, Curtis, it was too gentle, right? It's a tough topic. I get it's a tough topic to talk about, but you got to be a little more firm, a little more direct. You're just trying to be nice around these certain areas of what you're talking about, but this is a tough topic to talk about. And she was super sweet about it, right? She helped refine me and helped me realize, hey, you got to go in on this, right? That's what she said. You got to go in, you got to be direct, you got to get into this a little bit because it's a topic that people need to hear about, and it's not always super friendly, right? It's a real thing that we have to look within the mirror, right? So the topic we're talking about during take 2 of this episode is it's character plus reputation. Okay, so reputation is the main thing, but the thing that feeds into your reputation is your character. And so let me read some of the definitions of reputation, all right, and why I put those two words together. So definition number 1, it says, the beliefs or opinions that are generally held about someone or something. And then the second one is a widespread belief that someone or something has a particular habit or characteristic. Hence why I picked character. Now, to me, character is a complex thing, but it can be simplified. So I'm gonna try and simplify it real quick. So character essentially is actions plus words divided by time or consistency over time, which equals your character, and that character feeds into your reputation. So your actions and words, do they line up, and do you do that consistently over time? And that adds to your character, which then builds your reputation. They're kind of like, in my mind, they're synonymous, they work together. And so before we get deep into this, I'm gonna cover a few topics, but before we get into this, I want you guys to think about what is my character and what is my reputation? And are there some things that, one, I don't like about my character or reputation, how others perceive me, and can I change that? And what are the things I need to do to change that? We're gonna talk about that throughout, all right? So I'm gonna cover 3 different topics. I'm gonna talk about training or athletics, I'm gonna talk about business or a job, and life. So what kind of started this topic and why I want to talk about it was, in the NFL, there's a receiver, his name's Antonio Brown. He's legit. I mean, he's an unbelievable receiver, right? On the field, he has stupid numbers, he's unbelievable. Now, he was in Pittsburgh and left there because of some stuff, went to Oakland, got a massive contract to play for the Raiders. So he went there. Then from there, he had a bunch of actions, not on the field. Well, I guess some were on the field, but they were off-field actions that impacted his ability to play on the field, right? Like one of them was he essentially was arguing with the NFL about the helmet he could use. And they have standards you have to meet, right? And that safety-wise, because of the whole concussion thing that's going on in the NFL, right? They're trying to do better. And he was like, well, I want to wear this helmet. And they're like, no. And so he peeled it and so forth. Then he went to like a cryo chamber and froze his feet. Couldn't walk on his feet and so forth. So it was like, well, he can't play on the field because of that. So eventually all this stuff added up. The Raiders went to go put him on, release. That waived his money that he was guaranteed. And so he wanted to get out of that and get off that team, which he did. Went to New England, right? Had a legit game when he got there against the Dolphins. People will argue, oh, it was against the Dolphins. They're not that good. Which, whatever. It's the NFL. Those guys are all really good athletes. So here nor there. He had a legit game. Then New England released him because something else came out about him. Again, I don't know Antonio Brown. I think that he's potentially misunderstood, which is fine, man. What a bummer. He's misunderstood. I totally get that. But he's a legit athlete. But his actions off the field or his character and reputation impacts his ability to play on the field. So your character and actions and reputation impact things you want to do in life, right? Athletics, business, job, actually life, whatever it is, parenting. So we're going to get into that. So the first topic I'm going to talk about, because I just talked about him and athletics, is I'm going to go right into training or exercise / athletics. So I'm going to come at this with a two-prong approach. I'm going to talk about this from I'm going to address the athletes first, okay? Then I'm going to go into who else I'm going to talk about. So athletes, if you have a bad attitude, are not coachable, throw things, cuss a lot, whatever it is, that's going to impact you potentially progressing your athletic career. So let me get into this. Say little Johnny or little Susie is going to a tryout, because I work mainly with like college athletes down to middle school, some minor league baseball players. I've done some work with some NFL guys, but that's a rare thing, right? It's not a whole lot. Mainly it's that range of college to middle school who I work with. When it comes to athletics, I work with adults and everybody, but let's talk about athletics since we're talking about that. So if you are in that age range, you're probably going to try out for certain teams. You're going to try out for AAU teams, select teams, premier teams, club teams, whatever it is. And say you don't make the team, but you take a step back and you're like, man, I didn't make the team. I thought I was the best, volleyball outside hitter here. I thought I was the best, infielder here. I don't know why I didn't make the team. So you hopefully, as a maturing young adult, call the coach and ask for a meeting, either on the phone or in person. Hopefully in person, because in person I think is much more beneficial. But say you ask for that meeting, and the coach probably won't say this to you as eloquently. They'll say, hey, little Johnny, little Susie, you are / were at that tryout the best athlete there. You had every skill, every attribute that we want on this team. But there's one thing that's holding you back, and it's your attitude. Your attitude is poor. You're not coachable. You get mad. You throw things when you get out. You throw things when you make a mistake. And that pulls everybody else's energy down and around you, pulls them down. It impacts their thoughts. And that's not going to be a good fit for our team. Athletically, you excel above everybody else, but your attitude is going to impact the team in a negative way. If I reference back to Antonio Brown, that's kind of what was going on. The teams didn't want to be impacted by his actions, what the media was going to do and so forth, versus they just want to focus on playing football, right? The coaches just want to coach you and play the sport, help mature you as an adult and so forth, but also athletically. But if your attitudes get in the way of that, it can impact you from making the team, progressing on. And then your reputation is known amongst all the teams because people gossip. I'm not a big fan of gossip. People gossip, and they're going to talk about you. But you can change that, and we'll get into how you can change that. So athletes, think about what your reputation is based off your character. What are your actions? What are your words in all different types of scenarios? And can that impact your reputation to help you make a team? And then be on a better team to help you get better, because it's a better organization to help you get better and achieve more as you go through your athletic journey. Now from the other approach, parents. This is a hard one. This is where I thought my wife was like, you were a little gentle here. So parents, say your son or daughter doesn't make the team, and that's the same scenario. They were legit. You knew they were the best there. Parents know that your kid is the best, and they don't make the team. And you're like, what the heck? So you call the coach, hopefully, versus just bashing them and saying that coach is an idiot and so forth, because nothing's ever achieved that way, right? You call the coach, hopefully. You ask, hey, what's going on? I thought that they had a great tryout. I thought they were a really good athlete, and they say, hey, to be real with you, which most coaches won't, they won't say it this way. They'll say, hey, your son or daughter's legit. They have a great attitude. Us as a coaching organization or coach don't want to deal with you as a parent. I've seen and coached against you on other teams and seen your attitude. Seen how when your son or daughter's not playing, you're over in the bleachers talking crap about this team's a joke, that coach is a joke, all the parents feel awkward because of your energy and so forth, and we've got to have a cohesiveness amongst this team. So I would love to have your son or daughter on this team, but the reason why I don't is because your attitude sucks. Straight up. And you're like, whoa, that might hit you like, like a brick wall, like boom. And it's like, dude. And as a parent, the reason why this one's huge for me too is my wife Jackie and I have a daughter. She just turned 2. We celebrated her birthday party. It was supposed to be a dance party. The music cut out. I don't know what's going on. My phone might have been acting up, hence why I got to get a new phone. Technology is great until it's not great. But yeah, I was like, man, what if me as a parent impacts my daughter from doing the things that she wants to do? What if I'm overbearing because like I'm in training, right? And I'm like, well, what this coach is doing in practice is stupid. That's stupid. They shouldn't be doing that. Hey, dude, take a step back. I got to chill out, right? Like I'm looking ahead, trying to figure out what are the scenarios that I've got to potentially migrate or work through to make sure that I don't get in the way of my daughter achieving those things she wants to achieve in athletics, or it might be music or dance or whatever she wants to do. She might be like, I want to be in architecture and I want to be in an architecture club. And I want to learn how to build and engineer things. And I'm like, you're not building that right. I work with the body and it's engineered. And like, dude, chill out, bro. You know, and that's a real thing. So parents, take a look at yourself and think, is my character or is my reputation amongst the families impacting my son or daughter from making a team? And that's going to impact them and the opportunities they have going forward in life. And I know as a parent, we never want to get in the way of our son or daughter / kids achieving what they want to achieve. We're the biggest encourager. We're there fighting for them. And I get where you're coming from, but if your attitude's poor, it can impact them from making those teams and so forth. So take a look in the mirror and think about, hey, am I getting in the way of my son or daughter? Or how can I get better, right? How can I be better with my reputation to help my son or daughter do what they would like to do? So that's probably the thing that's toughest, because I've had conversations with coaches. This isn't just a made up thing. I've had conversations with coaches of kids that I train. I'm like, hey, why did they make that team? You know, why did they make your team? Like, they're legit. Like, I've seen them. They've gotten stronger athletically. They're locked in compared to most. Why did they make the teams? Like, dude, I can't deal with their parents, man. You know, I just can't deal with their parents. I'm like, wait, what? And I might know, like, okay, they're a little bit difficult to work with, which is here nor there. But we've come to agreement, right? But coaches, they want that authority. And if you're impacting that authority, that's a big thing, right? So, you know, look in the mirror and think, how can I get better as a parent amongst this team to help the team grow and get better? So my son or daughter is impacted from making the team, from getting presented opportunities to progress and go forward, right? So that's what you should look at. Athletes, look at yourself. Is your attitude, is it poor? Sorry, what is your attitude? Is it poor? Is it good? Is it coachable? Is it hardworking? Is it that you're lazy, that you're late? How can you rewrite that? Parents, are you overbearing, right? Are you a lawnmower parent that's going to remove any obstacle, like I talked about that? Remove any obstacle so that my son or daughter will be in that team, but then that impacts them later on, right? You've got to play the long game when it comes to your reputation. Because, again, it comes down to actions plus words divided by time, or your consistency over time, which builds your character, which then builds into your reputation. All right, let's get into job now, okay? Your job or business. And we all know this. If your reputation is not good or it's trash when it comes to business, you will have no clients. Whether you're selling a product, whether you're providing a service, whether you're anything, right? If your reputation is not good, you're not going to be able to keep your doors open, keep your lights on, and keep doing what you are passionate about doing. Hence what Antonio Brown's got going on, right? His actions are impacting what he's really good at and allows him to do on the football field and he enjoys doing. You have to be mindful of that, right? So if I just use my scenario in this area, so Curtis Clay Training, I'm in the kiln right now at the gym. If I have a bad reputation around here, it's going to impact clients coming in. It's going to impact people being referred to me. It's going to impact people returning to come back because they didn't like the experience, right? So is the reputation here, the reputation here that I'm getting, because I send surveys out, is that, you know, they trust us here. All of us here, they trust us. They're thoughtful as an intellectual in making a plan for my exercise program, whether it's preventing injury, getting stronger, athletically growing, whatever it is. They go above and beyond, right? That's what people keep coming back. Or people are scared because they're like, you know what? If you don't want to be shot straight and be told the truth, don't go there. But if you want that, go to Curtis Clay Training, because they're going to be honest with you, right? Case in point, I had a guy come in. He had a knee issue going on, and he was like, hey, dude, I got this knee thing going on. I went to evaluate him. I was like, hey, you know, you got to go. I did my part 1 of the assessment here. Like, you got to go see a doctor first before we proceed forward. He was pissed. I mean, he was a little frustrated at first. I was like, hey, he's like, that's why I'm here. I'm like, I'm not a PT, dude. I'm not a physical therapist. You need to go to a sports med doctor. Go to your doctor. They'll funnel you here. And if they say you're good for exercise, we can roll. We can go. He was mad at first. He went and did that, found out essentially that he needed a meniscus repair. And he was like, dude, he called me up and he was like, hey, man, I just got to apologize. I was really pissed at you and I was kind of firm with you. But what you would have done, it might have helped, right? It might have helped. It wouldn't have fixed the whole issue. And they're like, you need this surgery, right? And so he's had this knee pain for 10 years and whatnot. And people were like, dude, you should go see this guy, Curtis. You know, he helps out with like muscular things and blah, blah, blah. And custom exercise, tailored exercise, and which was great. That was my reputation. But he was expecting that he was going to come in, I was just going to fix him, right? Like, I don't fix anybody. That's not what I do. I'm not a surgeon. I'm not any of that. I use exercise as my tool to help people get better. But he'd heard such great things, but then he almost got a different viewpoint of like, dude, this guy, he just was like, no, I can't work with you. And he was like, what? So when he called, he was like, hey, I really appreciate you being honest with me. I'm going to do the surgery, and then I want to come back to you post-PT. Well, the cool thing was I talked to his doctor, or the surgeon. I'd be like, hey, I'm glad he's doing this. So forth, can we communicate back and forth? And I just told him, hey, I think the exercise could help prepare his body for surgery. And the doctor was like, you know what, man? And I've talked to this surgeon before. He goes, yeah, do that. Tell him that. I'll tell him that. So then he came in to do exercise to prepare for the surgery. He recovered that much more better. Way better. And so I built that reputation of communicating with the medical community to where they're like, hey, I respect this guy. He wants to talk to us, right? And then this other guy was like, I thank you for shooting me straight because I've had this knee pain for so long that they were like, if you didn't fix this, the bone in your femur and where it was hitting was almost going to soften and they couldn't do any other surgery, whether it was a knee replacement or whatever, because they were like, you're going to need one, right? Which, whatever. But the reputation you build, right? Are you going to shoot people straight? Are you going to be honest with them, right? Or are you going to be essentially a car salesman? Which, I'm sorry, car salesmen are a bad thing, but car salesmen are yes men, right? Or yes women, right? Oh, we can do that. Yeah, we get you in that car. Oh, yeah, you want that one? We'll get you that color. Oh, yeah, you want those thrown in? Yeah, we can do that, but it's going to cost more. You know what? They're a yes person. And I think the hard part is we are so used to society hearing yes that it's like when somebody says, hey, you've got to go do this first, we get rattled, right? That's tough, right? Because we can get things at the snap of a finger. I don't want to watch this TV show anymore. Boom, click it off. I don't blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, the reputation I've built here is that we're going to be real with people, we're going to be intellectual, and we're going to be data-driven when it comes to you and your body and to get better. So the reputation in this area is good. I would say it's good. But if my reputation on the flip side was, man, that guy sucks at what he does, he's not honest with you, you know, blah, 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 that'll spread real fast because people talk and they're not going to come in. And then all of a sudden I'm out of a job. I can't actually help people because that's my real passion is helping people, and I am obsessed with the body. Then my reputation is on the negative side, which isn't allowing me to do the things that I feel like I'm built to do, which is to help people with exercise. So your reputation is crucial. That could shut doors from you being able to actually use your, I guess you could say, your passion, to use your, some people say gifting, to help others. So when it comes to business, if your reputation is not good, it can impact you. Now let's go from a job aspect. If you're working for a company, and you want to level up in that company, but your reputation is that you're lazy, you don't work hard, all this kind of stuff, you're probably going to stay at that same job until you start to change the narrative. And that's when you start to change the narrative by you work on making your actions better and your words better to line up. And you do that over time, people are like, wow, like, that person's actually changing. They're getting better. They're refining themselves. They'd be perfect for this role now. They weren't back then, but they've grown. Now they're ready. And that's the whole point of anything. We grow and learn from things. But if we get stagnant in the place that we're at, it's going to impact and almost pigeonhole you based off of your actions. It's going to pigeonhole you into staying where you are. And that sucks, man. Let's be real. That sucks. Because if you want to keep getting better or whatever that may be, it's going to make a big impact. If you want to go from one company to another company and level up, you're going to need references from that other company. And if they don't give you good references because you were not a hard worker, you were always late and that kind of stuff, that's going to impact you from getting the other job over here or even within the company leveling up. So your reputation and character over time impacts these opportunities that you'll have, right? And it's tough. It's tough to look in the mirror and think, what do I suck at? What am I not doing good? Or what am I not good at? How do I get better at this? Then start to take steps to make those things better, right? It's a huge thing. Then if I go into life, right? So this one's probably the shorter one I'm going to talk about, but in life, you are who you surround yourself with. We've heard those things, right? Negative people tend to typically be around negative people. Positive people tend to be around positive people, right? So who you surround yourself with. So if you have a reputation and you're like, man, I want some better friendships. I want friendships that are going to help me grow and be better. They're going to push me to be a better person. But you're around people that are negative all the time, like, woe is me and so forth. That's not going to happen. So take a step back and be like, am I attracting negative people because I'm negative? Or how can I become better, right? And again, look in the mirror. Take a step back. Look and see, can I be better? Am I not good in these areas? When I complain about something and somebody that's a friend of mine brings me a solution, do I just like, well, that will never work and dismiss it? And I do it over and over and over and over again. They're going to start to see I'm never going to help this person with recommendations because they never listen at all, because of the fact they're so shut off. So then guess what's going to happen? That person starts to remove themselves and so forth, right? And then you start to get around more and more people that are negative and, a glass half empty type mentality versus a glass half full. So when it comes to life, if you want a better relationship, if you want a better marriage, if you want to be a better parent, whatever it may be, take a look in the mirror and think, what are the things that are impacting me and my reputation, right? And is that impacting me from having the things that I want in life? Because what it really comes down to is your character, right? I keep talking about that. And I know this is talking about reputation, but your character is crucial, right? And the reason why I said actions plus words over time is my godfather, Dave Brown, and then my other godfather, Hutch, they both embodied this whole actions plus words, right? I would say Uncle David didn't speak as much. He would speak when he felt like he needed to speak. And Hutch he was a preacher, he's a pastor, so he had to speak all the time. So his words had to line up with his actions and vice versa, and so did Uncle David's. Uncle David's was like, his actions spoke so loud that he didn't have to speak at all, and that's what was really ingrained into me. That's why I've had to work at talking. That's why I said in the first podcast, or second, that speaking is something that I have had to get good at and better at and relate to people. And this is challenging me to get better at that. And I feel like I communicate well with people in one-on-one conversation, but in groups I used to get really nervous and so forth. But you can rewrite your character or reputation narrative. You can start today. You can say, I'm going to acknowledge that I'm not doing very good in these certain areas, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to work on my actions and my words lining up. If I want to be somebody that's a positive person, maybe I remove certain ways I say things. I can't. I won't be able to. And you're like, I will be able to. I can. This will be tough, but I'm going to do it step by step. If you change your whole philosophy and mentality when it comes into that, that can then over time impact how people view you and your character, which impacts your reputation, which can open doors to like, hey, I like that. I remember that person said, they used to say that I can't, but they're saying now I can, even though it's tough. So you can take the steps to rewrite your reputation and your character. But you've got to work on yourself first. And you've got to take a step back and say, am I struggling with this? Do I not do a good job of this? Or ask people for constructive criticism, right? What are you not good at? Get better at that. If I give you my scenario, I've always been somewhat good at training. And I've tried to educate myself and go to I've been to so many classes in the past 5 years to educate myself. And I continue to learn, continue to grow. But something I had to get really good at, and I'm always working at, is the business side. And what I mean by that is building templates, building systems, all that type of stuff so that I can go and do the things I want to do in business, which is train people and educate and grow. So I've had to learn more about technology. I've had to learn more about how to use Word and Excel and all that type of stuff to make that stuff easy so it's in place so I can do the things I want to do. And my wife was super awesome with like, you're not very good at building templates. Can I teach you something? Can I show you something? And if I was somebody who's like, no, I'll never be good at that, and trainers don't need to worry about that. That's dumb, right? Social media, we need to worry about that. I would have been behind the curve. My wife was there alongside me to encourage me to get better at these things. But I've always been somebody that will listen to what somebody has to say about me and process it and make a change. And if I feel like it's an unjustified change because potentially it's something that they need to work on, I'll communicate that to them. But I've always been receptive to how do I paint my reputation or character in a positive manner to open doors, to connect people, to help people, and so forth. So, just to reiterate, back to the beginning, your reputation can impact goals or tasks or whatever that you want to achieve throughout life if it's not seen in a good light. Or if it's seen in a bad light, it'll impact you. If it's seen in a good light, you can reach those goals. Sometimes it'll open doors. But the last thing is that you are in control of your reputation and character. Work on your character, and that will be seen by others in your reputation, because what are people doing? We're always trying to figure each other out. We're always trying to figure out, what's this person doing? What are they like? Can I put them in a box? Don't let anybody ever put you in a box, because you know what? We are dynamic beings, and if we can make a decision to change, we can change. And so I just want to encourage you guys with that. Take control of your narrative, of your reputation and character, so that you can achieve the goals you want to achieve, whether it's in athletics, making the team, or allowing your son or daughter to make the team, for you to get the job you want to get, or build the business that you want, or to have the relationships in life that you want to have. So hopefully that's encouraging. Hopefully take 2 went good. And this was episode number 8 of Character Plus Reputation. Thanks for listening. If you liked it, please go check it out on the podcast. You can look at it iTunes or Podbean. You can also check it out on YouTube if you want to watch it. If you enjoyed it, please share it with friends and whatnot. Comment on it. Let me know what you think. Rate it. But that's the end of this episode, and we'll get into the next one. Come up here with a quick turnaround. So thanks for listening, guys. Curtis Clay signing out.